to let people die in the private prisons that you finance? Is that okay with you? It could be like your kids. They breathe the same that your children do. Does it make you feel strong? Families are separated because of you. Kids will never see their parents again.
Is all this death worth it to you?
Is it really worth what they're paying?
Is the money worth it? Is the car worth it? Is your plane worth it? Is it worth it?
Y'all seen the news last night? I said, y'all seen the news last night? I watched it roll through with tinted windows. So dark I could hardly see the headline. It was blank badges and a balaclava quietly crossing names off a list like lines in the sand, like fingers behind backs when you lied to with your hand on a Bible and some other book you forgot the name of. Y'all seen the news last night? It was here in a camera flat. And all we could do was flash cameras. Families snatched into the back of black vans under false banners, and goddamn it, I seen a man shot in the street. I seen a woman shot in the street. Yeah, I seen the news last night. Bombs dropping on hospital schools. Stop funding for healthcare and food. Shots pumping through helpless and crude. Oil tops promises from a state run by fools and bots. It's non-stop. Have you seen the news? Have you seen the news? That we saw the news last night. Pumped our brains with blue light and spent restless hours dreaming with our eyes open. Well, our eyes are open now. And our feet are marching. And our hearts are pumping fast and strong. And our fists are clenched. And our throats are raw, and our tongues are sharp, and our teeth are too, and our voices are loud, and they shout to the clouds, our time isn't now, it was yesterday, it was the day before, it was before the bombs dropped, it was before the prices rose, it was before Trump, and Doge, and Palantir, and ICE, but god damn it if it ain't gonna be tomorrow. Y'all seen the news this morning. They was out there with their hearts soaring and their eyes to the sky. Y'all seen the news this morning. They was out there chanting, demanding, breaking doors and brick walls. This revolution better be televised or we breaking into your news stations. We hacking your satellites and we streaming it to you ourselves. Better be televised or we breaking into your ivory towers, your alabaster houses, your open floor boardrooms, and we beaming it straight between your eyes. Watch the news, watch the news, watch the new generation with screwed faces and minds racing. Fists blazing from battle stations, hell raising with fists so hot it just might melt straight through the ice.
Awesome.
Yeah. I joined Brown Rise Up a few months ago because I wanted to get more involved in like the activism and organizing spaces at Brown. I've been to protests. It's something that's been super important to me my whole life. But I want to get more involved in the organizational side of things. And Brown Rise Up seemed like a great way to do that. They're a great organization doing work that I think is really important, and I loved all the people there. So that's kind of how I got involved with Brown Rise Up, and then I got involved with the narrative team, and I was having conversations with them and with Raya Gupta, who's the head of one of the heads of the narrative team, when I was kind of getting on board, and we were talking about how art can be used in protest movements and in resistance movements, and that's something that's been really important to me for a long time. I've been doing slam and spoken word poetry for years, and I've talked and thought at length about how that's an art form that is invaluable to resistance movements around the world throughout history, because it's able to connect with people in really unique ways and really change people's hearts and minds, I think. And so I was talking to Rye about this, and we were like, why not try to kind of involve that in the protests? And so the inspiration behind the poem was, first of all, I mean, obviously the message of the protest, obviously what we were, our goals, combating ICE, combating citizens' financing of private prison corporations that are used by ICE, but also I wanted to kind of tap into the overwhelming nature of the news and how it feels right now so hopeless. And there's every day you read about some new atrocity or some new horrible thing going on in the world. And I think that's a sentiment that a lot of people feel, and that can be very discouraging. But I believe that means that we just have to fight harder. I think for every time that fascism and oppression doubles down, our efforts to fight it need to redouble as well. And I think that can be a very discouraging thing, or it can be a very motivating thing. And so that's kind of the emotion I wanted to tap into, was that the kind of constant stream of bad news and horrible things that we see can actually fuel the fire of resistance, and needs to fuel the fire of rebellion. So yeah. I think, for spoken word especially, there's kind of two things that are on my mind. There's one that is, you want to be communicating the very specific emotion that you're trying to communicate. And you want to be honest to that emotion, no matter what. But I think when you're writing for a specific event, you have the specific emotional context of that event in mind, and that's what you're writing towards. And I also think your audience is always important when you're writing a slam or a spoken word piece. And so, to me, the process of writing for a protest is putting yourself in the mindset of that protest and the mindset of that moment, and thinking, what are the emotions that can drive, that can motivate, that can inspire people in this specific context? And how do I be honest and true to those emotions, and help bring that inspiration, that fire out in people? That's ultimately. It can feel hopeless and grueling to resist in the face of what seems like such powerful and indomitable oppression. But America is a country built on the founding principle that the people have power, that the people are the most powerful body, and every bit of fight for that is important. I think it's really intentional strategy right now by the forces that seek to keep oppressing, by fascist forces to make people feel hopeless. The constant barrage of bad news is not accidental. But in the face of that, it becomes so much more important to keep pressure, to keep the spirit of resistance alive, to keep fighting constantly. I think people need to get used to marking their calendars for protests. I think it needs to become more and more common, because when the scale of oppression increases, so much the scale of resistance. And so individual actions can seem hopeless, but every individual action inspires someone. Every individual action teaches someone. Every individual action keeps the spirit of resistance alive. And that spirit can grow, and does grow, every day more and more, until it can defeat the forces that seek to keep it down. But that can only happen through continual pressure, through continual fighting, and through showing up day after day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is perfect.